Good morning, students. Welcome to our online class. This is your second period, and the subject is economics. Students, today I will continue the same chapter, that is chapter 3, determination of income and employment, from part A book. I repeat, today in this video I am going to continue the same chapter, that is chapter 3, determination of income and employment, from part A book, that is introductory macroeconomics. Students, in the previous period, that is yesterday, we have studied about what is meant by aggregate demand and what are its components, and have also given the formula of aggregate demand. So from there I am continuing, students. So listen carefully. Students, you have studied in chapter 1, that is national income accounting. In that chapter you have studied that one's expenditure will become the incomes for others. One's expenditure will become the incomes for others. Or I can say one's expenditure is always becomes the other's income. The expenditure incurred, spent by the household sector, the expenditure spent by the household sector on the purchase of goods and services will become the income for firms in the form of factors of production and revenue of the firms also. That means household people are giving their services to firms. In return, the firms are giving incomes to the households. Again, with the same income, the households are purchasing goods and services which are manufactured in the firms. So again the same income is going to firms in the form of returns. Okay, in the form of returns, that will become the income of the firms. Students, here one thing you should always keep in your mind. You should always keep one thing in your mind, that is aggregate demand is not the same as market demand. You should keep in your brain, you should keep in your mind that aggregate demand is not similar to market demand. This you should always keep in your mind. Now here two concepts you have to read which are very important. One is ex ante and ex post. Ex ante and ex post. Ex ante and ex post. I repeat once again, ex ante and export or ex post. What does this mean? Listen here, what the firms may earn if they sell all their output produced. What the firms may earn, what the firms may earn if they sell their output produced is technically called ex ante. So what is meant by ex ante? Whatever the firms may earn, whatever the firms may earn if they sell all their output produced in a given period of time is technically called as ex ante. That means whatever production is made by the firms and whatever production they are selling, and with that whatever income they are earning, that will come under ex ante. I repeat once again, what the firms may earn if they sell their output produced, what the firms may earn if they sell all their output produced is technically called as ex ante. Whenever whenever the firms are producing any output, and the same output if the firms are selling, and whatever income the firms are getting from that one, that will come under ex ante. Similarly, whereas the actual output sold, earlier I told may means what? They may sell, they may not sell. But here, whereas the actual output which is sold by the firms, actual output which is sold by the firms is technically known as ex post level of output. I repeat once again, what is meant by ex ante and what is meant by ex post. First one, ex ante. Whatever the firms may earn, whatever the firms may earn when the firms sell all their output produced is technically called as ex ante. I mean, if the firms are selling their output, whatever they produced, whatever income they may earn with that one, that will come under ex ante. And ex post means the actual output which the firms are selling, that will come under ex post. To make it easy, it is like this. Let us first understand the meaning of the term ex ante and ex post. The study of variables under the theory of Keynesian economics is taken as ex ante. I repeat, the study of variables under the Keynesian economics is taken as ex ante values, which means planned, anticipated. I mean, anything you are planning, anything which you are planning, the plan may be successful or may not be successful. So the values which means planned, anticipated, estimated, expected, intended, unrealized values, all will come under ex ante. Ex ante means whatever you are planning, whatever you are estimated, whatever you are intended, whatever you are anticipated, all will come under ex ante. Whereas we always take the planned expenditure or planned investment or planned consumption expenditure, all will come under ex ante. I mean, planned investment, you are planning this much investment you are going to do. Planned investment, planned expenditure, planned consumption, all this planning one, I mean, whatever you are anticipated, intended, estimated, planned, that will come under what? Ex ante. Whereas ex post values are those which are actual, which are realized one, which are unintended. Okay, all such things will come under ex post. Okay. Now, yesterday I told you GDP. GDP means what? The total value of, or the total demand of all the final goods and services in an economy in a years of time. I repeat, the total demand for goods and services in an economy in a year's time is called GDP. So GDP is equal to what? GDP means what? Aggregate demand. So GDP is equal to Y is equal to, I mean, income is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. I repeat, GDP is equal to Y is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. So this formula will be for open economy model. Open economy means what? Where rest of the world also included. Okay, here C means consumption expenditure, I means investment expenditure. Okay, in simple words, or in simple I can say, in two sectors economy. Here two sectors economy means what? Households and firms. Households and firms, already we have studied circular flow of economy. So in two sectors we are having only households and firms. So in simple two sector economy model, goods and services are generally demanded for both basic purposes such as consumption purpose, consumption expenditure and investment expenditure. C and I. So here the formula will be GDP is equal to Y is equal to C plus I. GDP is equal to Y is equal to C plus I. This is the example. This is the formula for what? Closed economy model. Now, components of aggregate demand. Already I told you yesterday. What are the components? One is C, second one I, third one G, fourth one X minus M. C means what? Here, household consumption expenditure. C means what? Household consumption expenditure. I means private and public investment expenditure. I means both private and public investment expenditure, which is represented with the help of capital I. Third one, G. G here means government final consumption expenditure. Government final consumption expenditure, which is represented as what? G. Similarly, X minus M, that means net exports. X minus exports, M means imports. So net exports means X minus M. So C plus I plus G plus X minus M, all these four comes under what? The components of aggregate demand. So these are the four components of aggregate demand. Let us see each in brief. Household consumption expenditure. What is meant by household consumption expenditure? So consumption is the precondition or basic reason behind production. Why people are producing, why people are doing production of goods and services? For consumption purpose. So consumption is the precondition for what? Production. I repeat, consumption is the precondition and the basic reason for production. It is the expenditure incurred by household. Here consumption expenditure means the expenditure spent by the households. Okay. In general we can say government also. So it is the expenditure incurred by the households on the purchase of goods and services. Whatever income is spent by the household people or whatever expenditure is made by the household people on purchase of goods and services will come under consumption expenditure C. Now what this consumption expenditure includes? See, it comprises both planned and estimated. Here planned means what? Ex ante, and estimated estimated both will come under what? Ex ante. So it comprises planned and estimated expenditure of households on consumption of various final goods and services like durable goods such as car, refrigerator, television sets, scooters, etc. And also non-durable goods such as food, drink, soap, toothpaste, etc. Or expenditure on services like hotels, restaurants, hospitals, public transport, education. This also will come under what? The consumption expenditure. So money spent on durable goods, money spent on non-durable goods, money spent on what? Services like hotels, restaurant, etc. All will come under what? Consumption expenditure C. So the total consumption demand may be defined like this. The total consumption demand may be defined or includes two things. One is private consumption expenditure by households and public consumption expenditure by the government. I repeat, total consumption demand. What is meant by total consumption demand? Your total consumption demand means private consumption expenditure and also public consumption expenditure. Here private consumption expenditure includes households and public consumption expenditure includes the government on school, the expenditure made by the government on schools, public parks, hospitals, etc. Now investment expenditure, I told you, investment expenditure is one of the component of aggregate demand. Okay, so what is investment expenditure? So the second important component of the total demand for goods and services is the demand for investment expenditure. And you know, investment expenditure is made by the firms, both public and private. Public firms and private firms, whatever expenditure they are making on the purchase of what? Raw materials, machines, equipment. Raw materials, machines and equipment. Whatever money spent by the public enterprises and private enterprises all will come under investment expenditure. I repeat once again. Investment expenditure is represented with capital letter I. Investment expenditure includes both public firms investment and private firms investment on raw materials, machines and equipment, etc. Now, the aggregate of consumption demand and investment demand constitutes the aggregate demand. Aggregate demand always includes aggregate consumption and aggregate expenditure. I repeat once again. Aggregate demand means AD. Aggregate demand AD. So AD always includes both what? Aggregate consumption and aggregate expenditure. So aggregate AC means aggregate consumption. AE means aggregate expenditure. So AC plus AE is equal to AD. That means aggregate demand is equal to aggregate consumption and aggregate expenditure. Now, here this includes a variety of estimated or ex-ante capital formation activities like purchases and own account production of new capital assets like industrial machinery, transport equipment, farm machinery, etc. All will come under what? That investment expenditure. Now third one, government consumption expenditure, G. Government consumption expenditure, G. What does it include? That means whatever money is spent by the government on consumption goods for the public, like money spent on government schools, money spent on hospitals, money spent on hospitals, money spent on public parks, all this expenditure made by the government for the welfare of the public will come under government consumption expenditure. I repeat, government consumption expenditure is always represented with the capital letter G. Here government consumption expenditure means the expenditure made by the government on public goods and services such as schools, hospitals, public parks, etc. Now fourth one is what? X minus M, the last component of aggregate demand. Here I told you X means what? X means what? Exports. M means what? Imports. So the difference between exports and imports, will comes under what? Net exports. So net exports means X minus M. It is the difference between exports and imports of goods and services in a given year. Now planned expenditure on net exports, how much you are planning for exports, is a part of aggregate demand. So whenever you are calculating aggregate demand, then you have to count the planned expenditure on exports on goods and services. Whenever you are calculating aggregate demand, you should always add what? The expenditure made on exports of goods and services. Now one formula I am telling here. Aggregate demand. What is aggregate demand? I told you. Aggregate demand includes aggregate consumption expenditure and aggregate investment expenditure. Or aggregate demand is equal to consumption demand and investment demand. Aggregate demand includes both consumption demand and investment demand. Or we can say like this. Second one, aggregate expenditure. First I told aggregate demand. Aggregate demand includes the consumption demand and investment demand both. Similarly, aggregate expenditure, what it includes? Consumption expenditure plus investment expenditure. I repeat once again. Aggregate demand, AD. Aggregate demand is equal to, aggregate demand is for total demand. Aggregate demand, total demand. So aggregate demand or total demand is equal to what? Consumption demand plus investment demand. So when you add consumption demand and investment demand, then it will become aggregate demand. Similarly, aggregate expenditure. Aggregate expenditure means what? Total expenditure. So it includes what? Consumption expenditure and investment expenditure. So the formula is like this. AD means aggregate demand. AD means aggregate demand is equal to C plus I. C means what? Consumption plus investment. So AD is equal to C plus I. AD means aggregate demand. C plus I means what? Consumption demand or investment. I means investment demand or consumption expenditure or investment expenditure both. Now aggregate demand schedule. Schedule means what? Here the illustration, the graph. The aggregate demand schedule thus can be drawn by adding up. Whenever you are asked to draw aggregate demand schedule, then it should include the following things. Number one, aggregate consumption expenditure C and aggregate investment expenditure I, both at different levels of income. Both are shown in the aggregate demand schedule. Now, now moving to next topic, that is, again I am going back. Household consumption expenditure. Household consumption expenditure. What is the symbol for household consumption expenditure? What is the symbol for household consumption expenditure? C. So household consumption expenditure, which is represented with capital C, is an important component of what? Aggregate demand. Always remember, household consumption expenditure C. Household consumption expenditure in bracket C is an important component. Of aggregate demand, and it is mainly depends on the level of income. Aggregate demand, consumption, household consumption expenditure, always it depends upon the level of income. Yes, correct. Household consumption expenditure, I mean household people are spending the money in purchase of goods and services. So when the household people will purchase depends upon their income. Household people will purchase depends upon their incomes. Same thing said here. Household consumption expenditure C is an important component of aggregate demand. It mainly depends upon the level of income. So based on the level of income of the households, the household consumption expenditure can be determined. So symbolically, how we can show that one? C is equal to F by Y. That means I am showing here. C is equal to function of F. F can be written like this. Function of X. Okay, sorry. Function of Y. C is equal to, here C means what? Consumption, and is equal to F into Y. Here C, consumption expenditure, consumption, is equal to F means what? Function. This bracket Y means what? Into Y. So consumption expenditure, household consumption expenditure formula is C is equal to F into Y. Here C means what? Consumption expenditure. F means what? Function of. Y means what here? Income. What is Y here? Income. F means what? Function of. So consumption function is equal to, suppose in the exam they will ask, write the formula for consumption expenditure. So consumption expenditure is equal to, or household consumption expenditure is equal to, C is equal to F into Y. C means consumption expenditure, F means function of, Y means income. Now Keynes stated that consumption expenditure increases with the level of income. Listen carefully. Keynes, one of the economists, Keynes stated that consumption expenditure increases with the level of income. Consumption expenditure, whatever money spent by the consumer, that is called consumption expenditure. So when the consumers will spend more and more money, when their incomes are increasing. Whenever the consumer's income will increase, naturally their expenditure also will increase. But one thing you should keep in your brain, the way in which the income is increased, in the same way the expenditure may not be increased. I repeat once again. According to Keynes, so Keynes stated that consumption expenditure increases with the level of income. Whenever the level of income of the consumer will increase, then consumption expenditure will increase. Simple to say, suppose I am a consumer. When my expenditure will be increased, when I will spend more and more money, when my income will increase, when my incomes will increase, or when my income will increase, then my expenditure also will increase. So same thing Keynes stated. What Keynes stated that the consumption expenditure increases or consumption expenditure increases with the level of income. So when the consumer's incomes will increase, naturally the level of expenditure also will increase, or the the consumer expenditure will increase with the level of income. But I told you now, as the income of the households increases, whenever the household people income increases, then naturally their expenditure also will increase. When the household people incomes will increase, naturally their expenditure also will increase. But the expenditure which is increasing will not be equal to the increase in income. Suppose your income is increased 10,000. Already earlier you are getting 20,000. So suddenly your income is increased 10,000 more. Then naturally your expenditure part also will increase. But your expenditure part will not increase as your income has been increased. So this relationship between consumption and income. So there is always a relation between consumption and income. When incomes are more, consumption will be increased more. When incomes are less, then consumption will be less. Whenever the income will increase, then the consumption also will increase. But the consumption will not increase similar to the increase of income. So the relation between consumption and income is called consumption function or propensity to consume. So here I told you, this is what consumption function. C is equal to function of y. I mean C is equal to what? F into y. That means consumption always depends upon what? Income. Consumption always depends upon what? Income. Consumption always depends upon what? Income. So consumption function can also be called as what? What? Propensity to consume. Consumption function can also be called as propensity to consume. So remember this one. Consumption function C is equal to F into Y is equal to consumption function. It is also called propensity to consume. Next one. The consumption function or propensity to consume may be represented by an equation. See, this already we have studied that consumption expenditure is equal to what? Y, income. Now I am telling consumption function or propensity to consume, that can be shown with a equation, that is, listen carefully, C is equal to C upon bar, this bar, okay, plus B Y. This is the formula. This is the formula for what? Consumption function or propensity to consume. C is equal to, okay, C upon bar plus BY. Here calculator Y. Here C means what? C means that is consumption, and C upon bar means what? Consumption when the level of income is 0. Here one thing. Suppose your income is 0. Suppose your income is 0. Then also you will consume something. Suppose my source of income is not there. I am not earning any income. Even then, for my survival, I will consume something. That means when the incomes are 0, then also people will consume. So here C means what? Consumption. C by bar, this one dash, that is called consumption when the level of income is 0. This means consumption when the level of income is 0, and which is called autonomous consumption. B means what? B. Here small letter B. B means what? Slope of the consumption curve. Here B means the slope of the consumption curve. B means the slope of the consumption curve. And Y means what? Y means what? Here what? Income. Y means what? Income. Y means what? Income. Once again, this is the formula for what? Consumption function or propensity to consume. Consumption function or propensity to consume, the formula is C is equal to, okay, C bar plus B small letter B and Y. C means consumption. C plus bar means consumption even the income is what? 0. B means what? The slope of the consumption curve. Y means what? Income. So C is equal to, okay, C bar plus BY. C means consumption. C plus bar means what? Consumption. Even the income is 0. B means what? The slope of the consumption curve. I mean marginal propensity to consume. We can say B means what? The slope of the consumption curve, which is called MPC. MPC, marginal propensity to consume. MPC full form, marginal propensity to consume. And Y means what? Income. So once again I repeat, what is the function of consumption? What is the formula or what is the symbolical equation of consumption function? Consumption function, first of all, is also called the propensity to consume. Okay. What is the symbolical equation? C is equal to C bar plus BY. B is small letter, Y is capital letter. C means consumption. C plus bar means, C bar means what? Consumption, even the income is what? 0. Similarly, B means what? The slope of the consumption curve, which is called MPC, marginal propensity to consume. And Y means what? Income. Next one. The consumption function, this equation, the consumption function equation C is equal to C bar plus BY shows the level of consumption at various levels of income. This formula tells us the level of consumption at various levels of income. The level of consumption at various levels of income. When income is this much, your consumption is this much. When income is this much, your consumption will increase. When income will increase, again your consumption increase. That means consumption always increases with the level of incomes. But always remember, consumption will not be equal to the level of income increases. Next, the consumption curve, I told you, slope. The consumption curve slopes from left to right. Left to right means what? Left to right. The consumption curve left to right. This is left side, like this. Suppose this is y axis, this is x axis. So the consumption curve slopes from left to right. It is sloping left to right. The consumption curve always slopes from left to right. Okay. And starts at some distance from the origin of the y axis. This is y axis. So y axis, this is x axis. So consumption curve always starts somewhere at the point of x, y. The consumption curve always starts somewhere at the point of x, y axis, and it starts sloping towards right side, towards what? X axis. Now, the propensity to consume. Your propensity to consume is what? Consumption function only. The propensity to consume is again two types. The propensity to consume is of two types. The propensity to consume is of two types. Okay. One is average propensity to consume and second is marginal propensity to consume. The propensity to consume, I mean the consumption function only. The consumption function only is called the propensity. Okay students, the video is broken. Again I am continuing. Here, propensity to consume or consumption function is of two types. Propensity to consume or consumption function is of two types. One is average propensity to consume, I mean APC. APC, average propensity to consume. And second one is of marginal propensity to consume, that is MPC. So APC means average propensity to consume and MPC means what? Marginal propensity to consume. Both are the types of propensity to consume. Once again I repeat, propensity to consume or consumption function is of two types. One is average propensity to consume APC. Second is marginal propensity to consume MPC. Now APC. What is APC? Yes, average propensity to consume. So average propensity to consume is what? Average propensity to consume is the ratio of total consumption to total income. I mean ratio of total consumption and total income. Average propensity to consume means the ratio of total consumption and total income. The ratio of total consumption and total income. The ratio of total consumption and total income is called average propensity to consume. Symbolically we can say APC is equal to C by Y. APC, average propensity to consume, is equal to C by Y. That Y is capital letter here. So average propensity to consume is equal to what? The ratio between consumption, the ratio of total consumption and total income. So this one. So APC, what is the formula for APC? The formula for APC or the symbolical representation of APC is equal to C by Y. That means the ratio of total consumption and total income. Okay. Next one, MPC. I mean marginal propensity to consume. MPC. So MPC means what? Change in consumption and change in income. MPC. Here MPC. MPC is equal to what? Change in consumption. Okay. By change in income. MPC, marginal propensity to consume. MPC, marginal propensity to consume, is equal to change in consumption divided by change in income. Here this symbol is what? This is delta symbol. Here delta symbol means what? Change. I repeat, I show that, see, like this. Here this side it should be more. Okay, dark. Okay, actually it is not like this. It is not simply like this. It is not like this. This side it should be little bit thick. Okay, here it is normal. This side was thick. This is what delta, or we can say change. Okay, so once again I repeat, average propensity to consume APC. APC is equal to the ratio of total consumption, okay, and to total income. I repeat, what is average propensity to consume? Average propensity to consume is equal to the ratio of total consumption to total income. And the formula, the symbolical formula is this one. APC is equal to C by Y. Similarly, MPC, marginal propensity to consume. It is, the symbol is what? The formula is like this. MPC is equal to change in consumption and change in income. This symbol is means what? Change. It is just like delta. One side it will be thickness, this side, and this is normal. So this symbol means what? Change. So APC, MPC, both are the types of propensity to consume or consumption function. Now, next, coming to next one, this next topic, this one. No, so propensity to save is over. So propensity to save you will not read. That is not given in the textbook. Okay, not given in the syllabus. Okay, similarly, same thing will come here. If you want to see the same marginal propensity to consume or marginal to save, same. Only instead of here C, what will come? S will come. Okay, instead of C, S will come. Now next I am going to what is the yes, just a minute. Yes, how to draw? First I'll explain what marginal propensity to save, then only you can understand better. Now coming to marginal propensity to save, related to the consumption function. Okay, I mean propensity to consume, there is a saving function also. That's what propensity to save. Just like propensity to consume, there is propensity to save. Or okay, just like propensity to consume, there is propensity to save. Okay, propensity to save indicates the tendency of household to save at a given level of income. You know, always there is a tendency of the household people that whatever income they are earning, out of that they will try to save some amount. All the household people, they're having the tendency to save certain amount of their income always. That's the tendency. That is the tendency. Okay, I repeat. Related to consumption function, I mean propensity to consume, there is a saving function also, that's called propensity to save. Propensity to save indicates what? Propensity to save indicates that the tendency of the household to save at a given level of income. I mean, whatever income they are earning, out of that income, total income, they will always try to save a small fraction of income always in saving purpose. So propensity to save can be said like this. It shows the relation between saving and income. So propensity to save always shows the relation between saving and income. Propensity to save always what? Show the relation between saving and income. Symbolically we can say like this. Just a minute. Propensity to save formula. This is save. S is equal to function of what will come? Y. S means what here? Saving. F means what? Function of into Y. So this is propensity to save. This is propensity to save. S is equal to function of Y. So just like a propensity to consume. What is propensity to consume? We have studied. C is equal to F by Y. This is propensity to what? Income. This is propensity to save. Just a minute. So your saving function is equal to S is equal to function of Y. That means all household people, whatever incomes they're getting, they're having the tendency to save some income to save some amount from their incomes. So this is saving function. Saving function we can call, or propensity to save we can call. Just like consumption function is equal to propensity to consume, just like saving function is equal to propensity to save. And this is the formula. Okay. Again saving function is having two types. One is average propensity to save and marginal propensity to save. Average propensity to save and marginal propensity to save. For example, you see the formula here. Saving function already you know. Okay. Now comes under that how this is saving. The saving function may be represented in the form of equation. See, S is equal to minus C by bar. Okay, similarly plus here 1 minus B by Y. I repeat, the saving function may be represented. The saving function may be represented by an equation S is equal to minus C upon bar plus 1 minus B bracket close Y. So we can also express the saving functions like this. The same thing can be said like S is equal to minus C bar plus MPS minus this is Y. This means saving. This means what? When the incomes are 0, then also people are trying to save something. Similarly, MPS, marginal propensity to save, is what? Y. So saving also depends upon what? Income. Next, like propensity to consume, propensity to save is also two types. Just now I told you. One is APS, average propensity to consume, and marginal propensity to consume. Okay, I repeat once again. Propensity to consume, just like propensity to consume or consumption function, there is propensity to save or saving function. Again, saving function or propensity to save, are again two types. One is APS, second is MPS. APS means what? Average propensity to save. MPS means what? Marginal propensity to save. Okay, next. APS is the ratio. What is APS? APS is the ratio of saving to the total income. I mean, APS is equal to what? Here, S by Y. I mean, average propensity to save. Average propensity to save, okay, is equal to what? The total savings. The ratio of total savings by total income. The ratio of total savings by total income. I repeat once again. Average propensity to save is nothing but the ratio of total savings by total income. So this is what APS formula. Similarly, MPS. MPS what will say is equal to what? Change in saving by change in income. MPS is equal to change in saving by change in income. So like this, consumption function or propensity to consume, both are same. Saving function or propensity to save are same. Here, propensity to save is two types. What is that one? APC, I mean average propensity to save, and MPC, marginal propensity to save. Similarly, here propensity to save is also again two types, that is APS and MPS, average propensity to save and marginal propensity to save. So formulas already have given. The delta shape, that is what means change. Okay, now what is the relation between APC and APS? Relation between APS and MPS. See, there is a relationship between APS and MPS. There is a relationship between APS and MPS. I mean, APS means what? Average propensity to save. And APS means what? APC. APS means what? Average propensity to save. And APS means what? Average propensity to, APC, average propensity to consume. And APS means what? Average propensity to save. Once again I repeat, there is a relationship between APC and APS. APC means average propensity to consume, and APS means what? Average propensity to save. So there's a relationship. How? See, APC plus APS is equal to 1. Here we can say like this: APC is equal to 1 minus APS. Okay, and we can say like this: APS is equal to 1 minus APC. Okay, so there is always relationship. APC and APS, there is a relationship. For example, APC plus APS is equal to 1, is equal to APC is equal to 1 minus APS, or APS is equal to 1 minus APC. So this is the relationship. So with this we have to find out the sum. Similarly, there is a relationship between MPC and MPS. MPC means what? Marginal propensity to consume. And MPS means what? Marginal propensity to save. So same thing. Here APC means what? Here. So APS. Here. See. I'll rub and write. So there is a relationship between MPC, I mean marginal propensity to consume, and marginal propensity to save. See, MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. Similarly, MPC is equal to 1 minus MPS. Similarly, or we can say like this: MPS is equal to 1 minus MPC. So in this way, both APC and APS, similarly MPC and MPS, there is a relationship. This I will show you in the form of graph. The propensity to save curve drawn from the propensity to consume and vice versa. Already I have shown this one. This is propensity to save. Sorry, propensity to consume. Left to right, it is sloping. Similarly, propensity to save. Okay, that also drawn opposite. Following the diagram illustrated. See here one diagram is given here. This is y-axis. This is x-axis. Now, here this is called savings. This is what? Consumption. This is what? Income. So y-axis we are showing what? Consumption. X-axis we are showing what? Income. And what is here what? Savings. Okay, savings. Now see. Here two are there. Suppose if we draw like this. First is what? Going like this. One is going. Okay. Similarly, another one. Yes. This one. Next one. Like this. See. Here. This is 1. Okay. And another is this one. Here. This is how many degrees angle this is? This is 45 degree angle. That means always propensity to save curve. Always propensity to save curve. Always in 45 degree angle. Similarly, you know when income increases, saving also will increase. When income increases, consumption also will increase. Naturally, whenever the household people's income will increase, their saving will also increase, their consumption also will increase. So, next this is 1. Again second will come here dotted line. Dotted line. Okay. So, here this is E. This is E1. Okay. This is what is given here. You can write any number. C1. Similarly, this is also C1. Okay. Now this is CC. This is CC. Okay. I mean consumption function. And this dotted line is what? This dotted line. It is going like this. Dotted line. This is what? SS. SS means what? Saving function. Y. Here where is Y? Y. The place C1. Somewhere there is Y. Y is equal to what? C at point E. C at point E. This is income. Income is Y. Okay. Like this one diagram is there that I will explain later. Okay. In your video's length is increased. So I will show you how to draw the propensity to save curve. Okay. From the propensity to consume. I mean how we can show propensity to save curve and propensity to consumption curve. How we have to draw graphically. That I will show this one in the next period. So far we have studied about what? What is aggregate demand? Another name of that one. Components. Each components I have explained. Similarly, I said that one. What is household? Then Keynes, that relation between consumption and income. That consumption function formula, saving function formula. Then consumption function is also called what? Propensity to consume. Saving function is called what? Propensity to saving function. Again, there are two types. One is propensity to consume, average propensity to consume, marginal propensity to consume. Second one, average propensity to save, marginal propensity to save. Their symbolical equation I have said. Now, how to represent that consumption, I mean propensity to consume curve and propensity to save curve in say one graph. That is this one. I will explain once again. Okay. So, up to here I am stopping, students. Next period live I will take. and again I will explain this one because this need to be explained once. So next I will explain once again. Okay, thank you. Better read this one, read that material. I'll send you that one, read once. The important points I'll send you, read once. Okay, thank you.